guy said, Jack, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. He said, you want to go to college? And I said, guys like me don't go to college. Low self-esteem, nothing's going right, no direction in life. I had no earthly idea. I really think to this day, if I'd stayed in the direction that I was going, I'd either killed myself or killed somebody else. And then the next guy said, you want to join the Army? And I said, sure, why not? That was it. I mean, I had no idea they was even fighting a war in Vietnam.
Everybody, this is Jeff Allen. Welcome to Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast. Again, we will find you. We are looking. There's 6 billion of you out there. One of you did this, and we're going to hold you accountable. Our sponsor still, believe it or not, Nordic Wave, cold plunge. Still haven't sold one. We're still waiting to sell one. I'm not going to get my Salesman of the Year a plaque unless you people start buying these things. All right? So start buying. Dunk yourself in cold water. It'll help you out. Trust me. Find your inner Nordic. Find your inner Norseman. Find your inner Norseman. Well, I'm going to come out next week. I'm going to be wearing Viking horns just to show you how I found my inner Viking by cold plunging every day. Today's guest, we are honored, actually, to welcome. I am honored, by the way.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate meeting men like you. And we'll talk about this because my son was in the military as well. American leader, Sergeant Major of the Army, retired.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that's in parentheses.
I hate that.
Jack L. Tilley. You're not retired, man.
Well, I never retired.
You're probably busier than you've ever been.
Well, probably so.
You served more than 36 years in the United States Army, made history as the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, the senior enlisted advisor to the Army's Chief of Staff. Yes. That's a pretty big thing. Throughout his career, you championed the welfare of soldiers and their families, earning the respect, and that's important, of generations of service members through your leadership, your integrity, your unwavering commitment to those in uniform. Retirement certainly did not slow you down. Today, Sergeant Major Tilley continues his mission of serving America's military community as the host of Your Next Mission, a podcast, a program of the American Freedom Foundation dedicated to helping veterans, service members, and military families successfully transition to civilian life through candid conversations, hiring initiatives, and one-on-one support. The program connects veterans with resources, career opportunities, and the encouragement they need to write the next chapter of their lives. More than his rank or accomplishments, Jack Tilley is known for his heart. He spent a lifetime leading soldiers and honoring the fallen and reminding all of us that service doesn't end when the uniform comes off. Please join me in welcoming Sergeant Major of the Army, retired. I love how they put that. Retired. You're not still in there. Jack L. Tilley.
Yay!
Yes.
Yay.
That's a heck of an intro.
That's a great. Can I get a copy of that and take it with me? I love it.
Did you write that?
No.
No, Carolyn probably. Chad probably wrote it, right? No.
That's a great
It's from the website. Oh, it's from the website.
Oh, yeah.
You have a website.
I do.
Last guest we had didn't have one.
Well,
and his wife actually works in the tech field, and he didn't have one. So anyway, one of the things I loved just reading in the intro. We'll get this out early because sometimes people click on and then they watch for 3 minutes and then they leave. So let's get this out. One-on-one support. The program connects veterans and resources, career opportunities, the encouragement they need to write the next chapter of their lives. Where do they go for that?
Well, you go to Your Next Mission.
Your Next Mission.
Yeah, Your Next Mission. We have a program called VCS, Veterans Community Service, where we get one-on-one counseling for veterans if they have issues or problems, and we stay with them all the time till they solve the problem. So and we also have a hiring event. We do a hiring event about 4 or 5 a year, and we've been able to put, I think, between 6,500 and 7,000 people to work. So we're trying to do as well as we can. Okay, so if you have a veteran in your family, or you know somebody even on your block or your neighborhood or your city or town or your church that is struggling, that could use what Your Next Mission offers,
please write that down, take it, and share it with them.
You can probably go to the AmericanFreedomFoundation.org website also. Either one of those will get you in the right direction.
Okay. All right. Wow, you're the first military guy I've interviewed.
And you're the first comedian I've interviewed, so we're right back at each other.
Yeah, you guys are. My father told me a story about a sergeant he had in the Army would go out and get drunk, and then come back to the barracks and just break wind all night and laugh. He said they'd be laying in their bunks and they'd hear it just. Well, it kind of deflates the image of Sergeant York. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, years ago they had these open bays.
Have you ever broken wind?
Well, no, not me.
But you've never been asked that in an interview.
No, never.
I always like to be the one to ask the original question.
That's a good question. I've never heard that.
Sorry. I'm just in a goofy mood
Oh,
today.
that's a good one. I like that.
All right. Well, you're self-described as a terrible kid.
I was.
So when it was, first of all, was the military in your family? I mean, were you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
my
you were
father
the
went
first-
in, stayed a couple of years, and got out.
Okay. Yeah. So he was part of the generation that got drafted.
Yeah.
So you had to serve.
Yeah.
Back then, and I was the last. I think I was the last. My buddy, Corbin, was born in January, and I was born in June, same year. He got a lottery number. I didn't.
Yeah.
So I was the last of the draftees, and then of course you had to register, and so you made a decision that that your family, again, a lot of people my son went in the military, not from a military family.
Yeah.
So that's not unusual, but. So what was the deciding? You said you were a terrible kid. So
you hit
define terrible. Were you like getting arrested? Or?
Well, I spent like 9 months in reform school. I think I broke my right hand, stabbed 3 times. I mean, you name it, I did it when I was a kid. And
you got stabbed 3 times?
Yeah, I've been stabbed in the face, stabbed once in the side. I got a rock was this.
You say that like it's like a normal thing, you know.
Well,
I stubbed my toe and I got stabbed in the eye and the face.
Well, I was one. That goes back to alcohol. I wasn't smart enough to keep my mouth shut. But anyway, so anyway, it's I wasn't a good kid, and actually took.
When did the light bulb go on between your mouth and the violence that was being perpetrated on your body?
It took years for that light bulb.
Isn't that funny? I was the same way. My nose got broke a bunch.
Well,
you know what? If I keep this shut, nobody hits me.
Well, I was smart enough. I started boxing when I think I was 11 or 12 or something like that. So I boxed till about 22 or 23. But when I was a kid, I was, just like I said, I was a terror kid. Spent about 9 months in reform school. And when I come out of reform school, you couldn't get me to say anything to anybody. I just right down the road.
So it worked.
It was worth it for me. It straightened me out. But the problem was I came from a poor family. My mother and father were divorced. The last, I guess, 2.5 years of my life, I lived in a laundry room, probably about 3 or 4 feet wide, and I don't know how long it is. And I used to lag for quarters to get my lunch money.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. I mean, and actually won sometimes too, so that made it good. But honestly, I had no direction. But I went back to school, and I graduated at 17. And I was sitting down on the Columbia River. I lived in Washington State, and I was sitting on the Columbia River, and we're drinking an Olympia beer. Shouldn't be doing that. And the guy said, "Jack, what are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "You want to go to college?" And I said, "Guys like me don't go to college. Low self-esteem, nothing's going right, no direction in life." I had no earthly idea. I really think to this day, if I'd stayed in the direction that I was going, I'd either killed myself or killed somebody else. And then the next guy said, "You want to join the Army?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" That was it. I mean, I have no idea they was even fighting a war in Vietnam.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch the pair. I mean, people.
So what year was this?
60. I was 66, so I went in 66. Yeah, I went in 66.
Oh, okay. So that really was.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of.
Oh, yeah.
By the time I hit 1974, it was front page news.
Yeah. But anyway, so So the guy says, you want to join the Army? I said, sure. So I went home and told my mom. I said, Mom, I'm going to go in the Army, but you'll have to sign for me. And I, to this day, I think she thought, man, this is the best thing for this kid. Let's let him go. And I went down.
That's interesting, because a lot of parents would.
Yeah, but
it's interesting. When my son told me he was going to join, I was all for it because I felt he needed the discipline that would come from it.
And a lot of discipline comes from the military. And I think
if I was king of the world, I would force every 18-year-old boy to go through basic training.
Well,
just basic.
Yeah.
Because of that change.
Yeah.
And when my son came home from Iraq on R&R, he and my wife used to get into it all the time. And it used to, as a husband and a father, there comes a point where you bow up to your boy and you tell him, you're a man now. Yeah. And you don't talk to my wife that way. And that's your mother. You respect. That's right. You got to leave.
Yep.
So anyway, he goes down to the garden with her and he comes back up. She comes out first and she's crying. Yeah. And I'm thinking, here we go again. I start to bow up and she goes, no. She goes, no, these are good tears. Yeah. The Army's made him a man. She goes, I never thought I'd have a conversation with that one like I just had.
Well, the thing about the Army, though, it's like I said, I went basic AIT, and when I went in the service, basic AIT jump school, and went from jump school assigned to 173rd Airborne.
Yeah, you were with the 173rd Airborne. Yeah,
and then it went, they had a big...
And the 1st Infantry Division.
The 1st Infantry. So they had a big battle in the 1st Infantry, and every other person went to the 1st Infantry. And so I was one of the every other. And there's a friend of mine named Prentice Boykin, big guy, probably bigger, he's probably about 6'4", 250 or something, big fella. And we went into the Army together. And I got to tell you the story about jump school. So we went basic AIT together and then jump school. In jump school, I think they had, I don't know, let's say 250 people that graduate from jump school. And at the time, they'd read the names off like, Jones Smith, Tilly, that were going to Vietnam. That was, a badge of honor going to Vietnam. Well, of course, his name was Boykin, so of course they called Boykin first. Boykin, and when he was moving forward, I said, this buddy shit is over now. You're on your own. Right. And then a few minutes later, Tilly, I said, oh, shit. So anyway, we went home, and probably one of the proudest moments of my life was going home and wearing a uniform as a young guy, 18 years old.
Did they have the blouse pants?
Yeah, because I was airborne.
My father told he was with the 82nd, and he played music.
Oh, yeah.
But he wanted to go to jump school, and he was too good of a musician. The higher up guy that was in charge of the band said, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. You're playing the horn for me. Yeah. But he wanted the blouse pants. Yeah. He said, when you walked in a bar with those blouse pants.
Yeah, they know you're ready.
They part.
Well, the other thing about it, when you go to jump school at the time, they don't do it now because it's a kinder, gentler military now. But when you graduated from jump school, then they would pound it in your chest, your wings. They take those little clips off, they'd smack you right in the chest and embed them in your chest, and that was your blood wings. Oh, God, that hurt like heck. But anyway, so went to Vietnam, stayed there about 11 and a half months, and this is sort of a sad part. My friend got killed, got his stomach blown out.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, bled to death.
Yeah.
So
was that Barney?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. I was his escort coming home, and I don't know if you ever went to a military funeral. That's always tough. Yeah. So.
Yeah, 19, 18 years old.
Yeah, I think Barney was probably about 19, a little bit older than I was. But, if you look at it, there's 50, I hopefully got the number, over 50,000 veterans killed, or soldiers killed, or military killed in Vietnam. And the majority of them were 18 to 24. Right. So we kill a lot of young adults that could have given so much to our country. We kill off a generation. That's what I was trying to think of. But, so and then when I came back, now,
did you experience what a lot of guys experience?
Back? Yeah. I've stepped over bodies. I've seen all that stuff and the effects.
But even coming back to America, they were spitting on soldiers.
In fact, when I was Barney's escort, I remember I wore in fact, they called me out of the field, and I wore my jungle uniform, and it never changed. I came back right through Oakland, and you're supposed to link up with his remains right there in Oakland. And I went down. I went to a bar and had a drink. And when I was in the bar, these guys was going to start a fight with me. And luckily, the guys in the bar, there's a couple of veterans at the bar, so they helped me out. So, yeah, people are just nasty as shit.
Well, you see it on social media.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you see how cruel. I mean, so we had a neighbor down the street from us went over to Nam, and he came back, and the rumors and the whispers. I was young, really young, when Don came back, but he's not right in the head.
Well, nobody's come back right.
Right.
Yeah, and you see that. In fact, I tell people,
and there was nothing.
No, there's nothing for you. When you come back, there was no counseling. There was nothing. You just come back and deal with it. I think maybe I told you this before, but probably for 2 to 3 years after I came back, I had anger issues. I'd drink all the time. I didn't, again, kill myself or somebody else. But and I just sort of dealt with it. And simply by the grace of God, things just sort of turned around for me. And I think the way it turned around for me personally was I started being real open about how I felt and telling people. And then of course, you have a family. And I had a son that had some medical issues, but I just sort of grew out of it. And I think that it never goes away. You just learn how to live with it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Trauma's trauma.
Yeah, it's just not going to go. It's always there.
But it's not normal.
No.
My son came back from Iraq, wouldn't talk about, and we had no idea what he was going through.
Yeah.
Until he got into a facility and he came out of it, and then he was able to tell us where he was at prior to the facility and what the facility was able to do for him. That was on site over in somewhere in Tennessee here, but it's something that certainly, again, not being directly involved, and again, my father playing music, he didn't deal with, and it really wasn't. I think the Korea War was going on when my father was in, but he was never experienced the combat that the guys do. But did you find probably getting involved in what you're involved with now, service side of it, really helped you?
Well, yeah, I think, there's no question about it. There's two things I think that helped me. One is my wife. A lot of things probably. And two is that I had a bunch of good NCOs or people I was around that seen maybe some potential in me that I didn't maybe see myself, that sort of pushed me in the right direction. I mean, I when I was a staff sergeant, remember I have these anger issues. A guy got up in my face, and before I knew it, I hit him, knocked him over a table, and I was in uniform in a military installation there, and so I figured that was the end of my career. And one of the sergeants, in fact, it was the sergeant I was working for. And he said, he got up, stood up, said, go home. Didn't say anything to me. He said, just go home. And so you know what happens when you have to think. Oh
I
God,
try to avoid that as
I
much
need to at all costs.
possible.
Well, I got in a car and I drove home, and all the time I'm going home, I'm thinking, this is the end of my career. I'm done. I'm finished. And I got home and told my wife, said, I did the worst thing in the world. And the next day I came back to work, and he said, he did, sort of funny, he just saying anything to me. He just walked like normal. I said, oh, shit, okay, maybe I'm okay. And then during lunch, he said, come here. I said, yes, Sergeant. I knew everything right. Yes, Sergeant. He says, if you ever do that again, we'll court-martial you and throw you out of the Army. Now go back to work. That was it.
Oh, we need grace.
Well, everybody
needs a little grace.
Well, everybody, but everybody in life makes mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I made a lot of mistakes before I came into the military. I certainly make a lot of mistakes after I got out of the military. But it's part of us, especially as older, more mature people, let's say that, to mentor and guide younger adults. And I had some guys that I thought mentored and guided me in the right direction. I guess I didn't turn out too bad anyway, but I always want to give back. I want to help as much as I can.
Well, it sounds to me like you also learn from your mistakes.
Oh, I do, absolutely.
Not everybody comes out of reform school and says, "I don't want to go back."
Well,
a lot of them make 2-3 trips back.
Well, let me tell you one thing about reform school. In a reform school, they have what they call the pokey, right? And they have a little cell they put you in. It's got a toilet.
What decade is that from?
Oh, yeah.
The pokey.
Well, it's a long time ago. So that they call the pokey when I was there. So anyway, they have a toilet you can't flush, a faucet you can't turn on. It's a steel floor, and the lights above your head. And I'm about 12 years old, 11 years old or something like that. And they didn't even have a mattress or nothing. And so he laid on the floor, and I stayed there for 3 days or 2 days, whatever it was. And they took you out once a day or at night to go take a shower, go back in and lay back out on the floor. And then 2 or 3 days after that, they put you in a big room with a mattress and a pillow, no blanket, just a mattress and a pillow. And I stayed there about 3 days. And then when I got out of there, I went right back to where I was before. And again, you couldn't get me to step out of line. I think that in a lot of cases nowadays, we're so, we want to try to, touchy-feely kind of stuff. If you make a mistake, pay for it. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Just like I tell my grandkids, my kids, hey, look, if you screw up, tell me. I'll get mad at you, but I'll forget it the next day.
Right.
Or the next hour, the next minute. But everybody messes up.
Yeah, preaching to the choir on that one.
Well,
but,
yeah.
I messed up for like 15 years. Columbia River, Prentice Boykin. That's what you brought up, Barney.
Yeah, Barney. Yeah.
We had that down in the. That's just a question that we wrote out. But what made Barney laugh? What did he talk about? What did he hope to do when he got home? And I mean, because that's got to be the stuff that really.
Barney was just. Just a nice, friendly guy. That's all I can say. I mean, he would do anything for anybody. He's one of those guys that's bigger than life, and you never thought that he'd ever get hurt. He always had your back. You know what I mean? He was always there for you. So, it's really a shame. And the worst, I was hopefully don't cry when I tell this one, but when you're a body escort, you got to stand by the remains all the time before they bury him. Anytime that casket's open or somebody's viewing the casket, got to be there. And I remember when they come back, the first people that seen his remains was his mother and father. Yeah. Oh Lord!
Nobody should have to put a 19-year-old.
Oh no! Well, tears are running down my eyes. What do you? There's nothing. There's nothing you can say to a parent when they lost a loved one. I'm
what
sorry.
What do you say then? I mean, because I'm the one of those people.
Yeah.
That again, when you're 70 years old, you've lost friends, you've had people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And my go-to is I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, to say I know how you feel. I don't.
I
can't imagine how you feel.
You know what I usually say? I say, God bless you. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm here for you.
Yeah, it's just so hard.
Yeah, and the worst thing about it is, you can imagine the death that I've seen in 36 years. I mean, I've been just going back to Vietnam. I've been to places where you just step over bodies. I've been to places where you drag and throw bodies in ditches. And I've seen just the after effects of war. And most people, can
you compartmentalize that?
Nah.
I mean, from the human part of your heart?
I think, I don't know.
You don't want to become numb to it.
Well, this is probably a crappy thing to say. I think in war, your heart turns black. And people say that's bullshit, but I think it turns black, and death doesn't mean as much as it should mean to you. And one thing I used to say, especially in Vietnam, is if somebody's got to die, let it be somebody else, not me. Right. And but you got to make sure that you're trained. In fact, when I first got to Vietnam, one of the first people that got killed was a sergeant that taught me when I was at Fort Knox on tanks. I thought, Lord have mercy. You taught me, and you just got killed. Well, I mean, the thing about it is, they're dropping mortars or they're shooting. I mean, there's no, you don't know who's going to get hit, and so it's the luck of the draw. I was, like I said, I was overran once with 20 wounded and 7 killed, and they hit us at night from the back.
Yeah. Did you have any survivor's guilt at all? I've read about that. I mean, again, I don't know anything about it.
Probably just the basic stuff that.
Why me?
Yeah. Well,
You know.
I think I tell people you never can look back in life. I've never fallen over a log that's behind me. It's always everything in front of me. So what happens behind me, I don't worry about. In fact, in life, I think you need to stay in your lane. You know, wherever I can affect it, whatever's in my lane, I'm going to try to work on that as much as I can. But you know, in the Army, as you grow more senior in the military, of course, that lane widens out a little bit. Yeah. But if something happens, I don't worry about it. If something happens, I try to sort it out and do the best I can to fix it.
Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with some of the guys?
Yeah, a few, because I'm still around, but not many of them. A lot of them, what's really funny is because I stayed in the Army so long, a lot of the guys that, not a lot, but maybe 4 or 5 of the guys that I trained when I was a drill sergeant, I was a drill sergeant back years ago, still reach out to me.
Really? Yeah. I can't imagine you. Were you one of those?
Yeah, I wasn't a nice guy.
No? Yeah.
No.
Did you call them names?
I call them everything you can think of. I actually, this is years ago, so if anybody's listening, you can't turn me in. But I was at Fort Benning, and we used to get you new recruits that got off the bus. You run them underneath the building until about 3 or 4 of them passed out. You know, God, I'd just do some unmerciful things. I'd run them 4 or 5. I mean, I'd make sure, but in my mind, you're going to war. You better be tough.
Well, that's
you know,
yeah.
You know, if you
think this is hard,
yeah. Well, yeah. You know, one of the things I didn't say was I went to war at 18 years old, but I come back at 55. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You know, just think about it. Because you grow so fast by seeing those kind of things that you just can't imagine.
It's real quick, doesn't it?
Well, just, in fact, it bothers me sometimes. Of course, a lot of things bother me maybe sometimes, but when people get on television or something, say, you know, we should start a war, we should do this. Well, all the people are saying start a war have never been to war,
right? And
don't know the after effects of war, and don't know all the people that died in war, and our young men and women in this country fought our war. So,
right.
Yeah, so it changes you inside. Now, when I said my heart turned black, the reason I said that is because I remember watching a guy get electrocuted one time and fell off a telephone pole, and it was an American too. And there was a track in front of me with 3 or 4 guys with machine guns up there. And I remember looking at them, and they went and looked back like it was nothing. I thought, shit.
Yeah.
This is, it changes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the work you're doing now for the American, how did you hook up with them?
Well, when I was a sergeant major of the Army, I used to take what they call the sergeant major of the Army's Hope and Freedom Tour, entertainment overseas. I took, who would take? Carrie Underwood, Daryl Worley, Mark, all singers out of Nashville here. And Ted Acker was the manager for them. So when I was in the Pentagon, I asked the Secretary of Defense. I said, "Are you going to take entertainment to the troops this month?" Because we'd meet with him once a month. He said, "Well, you know, I don't know." I said, "Okay." So when I went back, I said, "Hey, look," I told the guys in my office, I said, "They figured out how we get a plane, and let's contact the USO and see if we can get some entertainers." So everybody thought, "Man, you're crazy. You'll never pull it off." And you know, I think I can't remember how much you have to pay for the plane, but the budget and all the stuff. So we got a plane, and we got some entertainers, went through USO, and we went to Afghanistan and Iraq and entertained. So I did it 2 years in a row. And then on the 3rd year, I was getting ready to retire, but I took the guy that was my replacement over there with me, and he did. So he continued to do that. So that's how I met Ted. And we got to be long-lasting friends. And when I retired from the military, it's a tough transition because after so many years of doing so much, now I'm just me and my wife and son. And I said, I got to do something. So I said, I'm going to go back and help as much as I can. So I reached out to Ted, said, hey, look, Ted, I don't know what we do. Maybe we can do some concerts or something for soldiers or service members. And he said, yeah, man. So we started doing that. And we did, I think we did shows Alan Jackson, Trace Atkins, James Otto, Martina McBride, Leanne Womack, Phil Vassar, Charlie Daniels, Hank Williams. We tried to get everybody, and we gave away a few $1 million to veterans, but it's expensive to do shows. They want a lot of money. And then COVID hit, and then what are we going to do now? Right. And then so we sort of slowed down, tried to do a webinar, and then we come out of that, and he said, "Oh, let's try to do a podcast." And I said, "Man, Ted, that's a great idea." He said, "You can be the host." I said, "Wait," I said, "That's not how this works."
That's not the way. No. I didn't see that.
No. And then we started, but our RO, just like yours, all we want to do is, I don't want money from anybody. I don't want nothing. I just want to help people, because there's 200,000 veterans incarcerated in our country. 200,000, federal, state, and local level, 200,000. Wow. 86,000 are homeless. Now, here's the kicker. Since 2001, more than 130,000 veterans have taken their life by suicide.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a big number. And the main reason why is they don't fit in. They struggle.
Yeah, my son was close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we never knew.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I can't imagine as a parent. You come in and why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you? We could have helped. We could have lifted. We could have whatever, But he told me, until he got in a room full of veterans that knew exactly what, And again, I'm an alcoholic. I mean, until I sat with alcoholics. Yeah. My attitude was, you don't know what I'm going through. Yeah. You don't have any idea, And, but please, if you're a veteran watching this, if you're a veteran in your family, they're quiet, they're silent. Do what you can, get them to open up. Find veterans groups. They're all over.
Absolutely.
Every town has them now. Reach out, Google, do whatever you need to do to get them to open up. That's the first step. Yeah. That really is.
Well, I think the other thing is we talked about this before. Don't be afraid if somebody's having a problem. Don't be afraid to ask them. Hey, can I help you?
Yeah.
And don't be the one thing I think that most people, not just veterans, everybody, just want somebody to listen to them. Listen. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people, and you may think I'm crazy about this. When I first got out of the Army, proud to serve, and I moved into a civilian area, and there was no military in there, and I thought, man, I'm going to go meet everybody. So I went to the door and shook their hand and all that stuff, and I came back, and my wife says, they think you're a nut. I said, why? Yeah. She said, they don't do that. They just go in their room or go in their house and close the door. And I said, oh man, that's crazy. And I said, yeah. So it's tough to tell people how you feel about certain things. Just like me, if I talk about certain things, you can see I'll tear up a little bit, and it's tough to get through. But that's
well, that was it. I mean, I remember at one point Tammy told me, she goes, "You'd share our life with a bus driver." I know if it kept me sober a day, I would. Yeah, and that's what you learn. Yeah, you're as sick as your secrets. Yeah, and the thing that I learned early in the 12-step program was. My first sponsor told me this. He goes, your problem is our problem, is everybody's problem, is terminal uniqueness. Yeah. You think you're the only one that's going through what you're going through.
And you're not.
And you're not.
That's right.
And that's when you start laughing about your folly as a drunk. Yeah. I mean, you'd sit there, and initially what was so crushing was my behavior. But eventually you start hearing other people. You know what? Yeah. It just comes with being drunk, I mean, it's, and it's funny. I have not been incarcerated in 38 years since I quit drinking.
So when you was drinking a lot, you spent a lot of time. That's
not a lockup, not a DUI, not a. It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even pretend to sit with a soldier that went to combat and pretend to even have an idea of what you're going through. I have no idea. Again, trauma's trauma. Yeah. But to compare apples to apples is not.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that if they know you care, sometimes some people say things and they don't care just by their actions, but if they know you care, then I think it's okay. And I went in and I remember going in. I probably didn't tell you this. So I went to went to San Antonio, the burn center. I was still on active duty. And so I would go through and I'd talk to the soldiers and stuff that are wounded or missing limbs or burned. And I went to this one room. This guy had been burned like 75% of his body. It was even tough to look at him. He was burnt so bad. And you have a public affairs. I'm sure you've got public affairs that comes right, but you had a public affairs that was right behind me with the camera taking pictures. And I said, "Don't come in there. Yeah. Stay out of here." And so I went in there and said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" I just looked him right in the eye like it was nothing. And we talked for a few minutes, and then he says, "Hey, Sergeant Major." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can we take a picture?" I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, can we take a picture?" I said, "Sure, absolutely." And we took a picture. This is a great. I had another one. I went to Walter Reed one time. I used to go and visit soldiers up there, and a lot of again missing limbs. We had a quadruple amputee on the show yesterday, but I went up there and there's a female soldier that lost her leg. I don't know how she lived, but she was missing a limb. And I thought, "Oh, Lord, when I go in there, I'm not sure what I'm going to say to her." And I said, "Hey, Sergeant, how you doing?" And she said, "Fine, Sergeant Major. I'm doing fine." I said, "Well, is there anything I can help you out with?" He said, "Yes." Yeah. "When do I get that damn prosthetic so I get out of here?" I'm going to get back to my unit. I got to tell you this one more story, though. I was in the same place in Walter Reed, and I went in, and there was a special operator, in fact, and I think he'd been shot 8 times or 7 times or something like that. And his jaw was wired shut, and he could hardly talk. And his wife was sitting just right next to his bed. And I went in there, and the Sergeant Major of the Army, you have a Sergeant Major of the Army coin, so you give him a coin. And so I went in there, and I said, "Hello, how you doing?" He goes, and I look at his wife. He said, "Hey, he said he's doing good." I said, "Okay, that's good." So we chit-chatted back and forth. And when I got, we talked for, 15 or 20 minutes. And I was getting ready to leave. I says, "Hey," I said, "Hey, Sergeant," I said, "I got a coin. You want this coin?" And I go, like that. He said it again. I looked at his wife. He says, "Hell yeah, I give him the coin." So I gave him the coin. But when I was getting ready to leave, he was missing his hand. His hand had been shot off or blown off or whatever. But he stuck his hand out. So, what he did, so I grabbed the end of his arm and shook his hand. And so when I was walking out, the nurse there says, "Yesterday, the President of the United States was in there." I said, "Wow." I said, and the sergeant did the same thing to him. He stuck his arm out to shake his hand. I said, "Yeah." He said, "But the president grabbed his hand, but wait a minute, he may not have grabbed his hand. I maybe grabbed his hand, but he kissed him on the forehead. I just thought it was a touch of class. I was President Bush. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's there's most people that are wounded or suffering from something. All they usually want to do is tell their story, and that's again that goes back to those.
And
guys.
It also has to mean something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. I mean, Aaron, when he came back from Iraq, so this was 08, 09. Yeah. I think we'd been there for a while, and he was just blown away at the ROE. I mean, he just said, "It's senseless." He said, "We have to wait for them to shoot at us, and then if we do make a kill, we got to fill out a police report." It was like it had gotten to the point where they didn't know why they were there. It was confusing. What's the end game?
Yeah.
And again, I think young men, we're wired to provide and protect. Yeah. We're wired to protect. So you give us a mission, tell us what the end game is, we'll get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, starting with Vietnam, even Korea, again, these police actions, I think that in the end, in hindsight, you look back and you go, why were we there? What was the point to all of it? Yeah. We did what we were asked to do. And again, the people outside, I mean, you see it in social media. Yeah. I mean, these the saying is hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of wounded people in society that are just looking for reasons to hate.
Yeah.
So they'll latch on to whatever they can. But I think within the community, I know just talking to my son, what little he shared with us, those were the conversations. Why are we here? What's the point to all this? As they would haul another body in, they would go, we just want that to mean something.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you know? What was his MOS? What did he do in the military?
He did the black boxes on the choppers. On the
so he was in helicopters.
Yeah, and he had to put bodies in body bags. I remember him telling. It was funny when he was deploying. Tammy, we were at the airport. They let you go back.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tammy's all over him, crying and hanging on him, and he goes, "Mom, I'm not infantry.
Yeah.
I'll be okay." And trying to relax her. But it's funny, when he came back for R&R, he took me off to the side, and he was crying with me. I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know why I'm going back. What? And then when he was ready to leave the 101st, he had 6 months left on his 6-year contract.
Yeah.
His group was being deployed to Afghanistan. And he said to me, I feel like a coward because I want out. And you've done more than 99% of this country.
Absolutely.
In service.
Yeah.
You're anything but. And the fact that you want out is normal.
Yeah.
That's natural.
Yeah.
You're not a warrior. He's not. This kid picked up wounded birds, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's not. There are warriors. Mm-hmm. There are men who are wired for this. He's not one of them.
Yeah.
But I think that you can speak to this. You're part of a group. You watch people die. You watch people near die. You watch people lose limbs. You watch all of this. It bonds you in a way that that trauma bonds you.
Absolutely.
In a way.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you're at a point where you can leave, now you were in 36 years, so you kept re-upping. And did you sign up thinking it would be a career?
No.
Or did you just get in and go, you know what, I can live this way?
I stayed 3 years. 3 years, 30 days. Got out. Said I don't want to do nothing with the Army. I'm finished because I had a shitty commander, and I wanted to get out. And I didn't want to deal with that person anymore. And once I got out, stayed out 2 years, I realized something. I'll never let anybody affect my life. I'll do what I do for me, not for you, for me and my family. And I let that one individual change my direction of life. And so I said, no, I like the Army. I liked what I was doing. And so I said, I'll go back in. And when I enlisted to go back in, guess what I asked? Send me back to Vietnam. Right? And you know why? Promotion.
Really?
Yeah, I thought if I go back, I get promoted a little bit. I was a Sergeant E5 in 18 months, a Staff Sergeant in 2.5 years, 7 and 7, 8 and 13. I was a E9 on the list at 17 and a half, 18 years. So I got promoted pretty quickly, but I was not like your son. Your son was in a great unit too, but I was in a combat arms unit. And there is units, depending on what your mission is, where they'll tell you not to shoot. But I was in cavalry units and mounted units. You shoot at us, that's the end of that shit.
Well, that's basically what he said, though. We got to wait for them to shoot at us.
Well, usually you make contact. And a lot of those guys, especially in Vietnam, in
Vietnam, they wore uniforms.
Well, no, shit, no. They had black pajamas. They'd sneak around. They don't know where that's at. I shouldn't tell this, but we set up an ambush. The infantry guys we had one time set up an ambush, and I think we killed 7 women and 8 men or something like that in an ambush. But there's. I was going to tell you, I was in a cav unit. I was going down a road. And they have what they call a herringbone, where you turn the vehicle this way and left and right, so for security. And just as I was backing out, I was a driver at the time. Just as I was backing out, this guy shot an RPG, rocket propelled grenade launcher, hit the ground. Luckily, hit the ground, and then hit our tank, the tank I was on. And my head was out of the tank. And by the time my head was out of the tank, by the time that round hit, the guy that was a TC swerved that tank around and fired the main gun round off that freaking tank right? Oh yeah, my head's still out of the tent. Shit, my ears are still bad.
Wow,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah. So in front of us was a armored personnel carrier, but he was off the fast. But the concussion from that blast of that tank blew that guy off the track, off that APC. And after all the dust was settled, the guy that was a TC got off, and he walked over to the guy that was laying on the ground. I guess he got up, and he said, "Look, asshole, stay awake." And didn't say anything else. Got back on the tank. You know,
kind of hard not to stay awake.
Yeah. Well, that concussion woke him. But he was always. I think he was always smoking drugs. He was always on drugs or something, doing something. He wasn't alert. He wasn't watching.
I love that, smoking drugs.
Yeah. Well, smoking dope. That's the wrong word. Yeah. But he was, he wasn't alert. He couldn't get people killed. You see, in the military, and I'm sure your son has told you this. You raise your hand, say, "I'll protect and defend the Constitution,"
right.
And that tells you two things. One is that I'm willing to take a life, and the second is I'm willing to give up a life, mine.
Right.
For you.
Well, that's it. And it becomes real when you fill out your basically your death certificate.
Yeah.
Your
will.
Your will.
That's right.
As a 19-year-old.
Oh, it wakes you up.
Yeah.
But you said it already, the people that go to war and do those kind of things really become very close. Especially, there's if there's somebody I haven't seen for 20 years, then they call me on the phone. It's like I talked to them yesterday. I'll do anything for them. So it's a pretty good life, and it was good to me, and it's good to a lot of people. And you're always going to have bad things that happen, but that's what I got paid for.
Right. Obviously that's a great perspective to have.
Well, I had much of a choice when I got in there.
Well, again, a lot of people don't carry that kind of perspective.
Oh no! Well, everybody's got different ideas about the military. Some like it, some don't.
And but coming home, I like some of these questions. What did your generation of veterans have to carry without the language, treatment, or public understanding of PTSD that exists today? That was, I can at least remember that when they started talking about PTSD. That was new.
Yeah.
They never talked about it. World War II, those guys came home.
Well, they called it shell shock.
Shell shock? I remember that.
Yeah, shell shock. They called it shell shock, and I can't remember, but... it's especially coming back out of Vietnam, just not Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The good thing about, and you said it already, the good thing about what we're doing now is when you come back, there's people there that'll help you and assist you and talk to you a little bit. Coming out of Vietnam, there wasn't anything. There was nobody there that could assist you. In fact, if you look at it, most of the people who went at that time were, they call them U.S. They was drafted, spent 2 years in the military. So they went basic, AIT, war, 1 year, come back. 6 months later, so after 2 years, 2 years a little bit, they're back on the streets. So they have that PTSD or whatever war affected them, and we put them back on the streets with no help, no medical, nothing.
Yeah, and even, certainly with Vietnam in the later years, you couldn't, as a soldier, tell people you were in Vietnam because you didn't know if they'd spit on you or if they'd start a fight with you.
Yeah.
So, and then you were made to feel ashamed for being over there by the population, by the media.
First of all, I never felt ashamed. Well,
good for you, though.
I always thought, look, if I work for you and I work during the time I'm in the military, I'm working for our leadership in the military, and so whatever decision I do or whatever things I do, I'm not doing it based on what I want to do. It's based on what you're telling me to do. So we should never brave anything on the military because they don't, But that's just my job, just like your job. But I don't look back at nothing. I did what I was supposed to do. I did what this country asked me to do. And I think if we can fight a war, and a war is over in the Middle East, and it's not in our country, and it's somewhere else. But if you've seen the destruction and the kind of things they'll do, if you've seen a town that's been leveled, if you see families walking around that are missing limbs and arms and everything else, we've picked up there was a 5-year-old or 6-year-old kid one time out of the bush that was dead. But nah, I don't think anybody in this country could ever visualize what war is really like. We talk about, let's send the boys to get them and all that other stuff. Well, yeah, okay, you join in with me and let's go at it. But nah.
That's the way I've always felt, which is why I don't ever rally.
No.
For military action,
because
if I'm willing to pick up a gun and go fight, then I'll just do that, and I don't need to speak.
The thing about it is, if you talk to most militaries, every military guy I know has got 3 or 4 weapons, and I'm sure you probably do too. But and every one of my weapons got laser beams and everything else on the damn thing. So I got enough ammunition to make sure.
Yeah, but I can't hit the broadside of a barn.
I can't with that laser. I just. I gotta tell you this funny story. I've just moved into my new house, and they was breaking into houses there, and so these kids were coming down the block, and there's one kid, and they're about a half a block apart, and they're swaying back and forth, and I say to myself, hey, look, these kids are spotting for somebody. They're looking to break into a house. Now, I wouldn't tell anybody else, listen, don't do this because it's wrong. It's legally wrong. So I went in and got my Glock, right? Yeah. And the kid comes by and says, hey, sir, how you doing? I said, fine. Targeting the Glock back. I'm pointing at a building with a laser beam. He said, sir, what's that? I said, it's a Glock. I said, it's got a laser beam on it. He said, you wouldn't shoot anybody. I said, in a heartbeat. I said, I'm ex-military. I'm a little not wired in the head very good. I'm all screwed up. I said, if I ever catch anybody in my house, they'll never get out alive. There's no question in my mind about that. He said, you would actually kill him? Yes, I would. I'd kill him in a heartbeat. Guy went down the block. They broke in the houses across the street, never touched mine.
There you go.
So I was good to go. But they finally caught the little rat.
I did learn that over years. People leave crazy alone.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're on the streets of like a big city and you're a little nervous, just start talking to yourself out loud. And have an argument with yourself. Oh, these people, just leave me alone. And then you get space. People give you space. They get a wide berth, man. Yeah, people leave crazy alone. I read where somewhere in Tennessee, the B&Es are non-existent because they just assume everybody's packing.
Oh, is that right?
Every house. Our newspaper, we live in a small town, and two guys, drug addicts, tried to break into a guy's house. He was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And
he shot him on their porch with his 12 gauge, killed him.
Oh, man.
And that was front page. Yeah. It was basically just an advertisement to don't come to our town and try to break into our old people's houses. It's tragic, but it's like, I don't break into people's houses. I
you just don't know what they're going to do. My neighbor has a shotgun, and he's like 84, 85 or something like that. I said, you got the shotgun? That's a heck of a blast. Yeah, I'm not a very good shot.
Well, that's what I told my wife. I put a 12 gauge under the bed.
Yeah.
And I said, when I'm gone, I said, all you got to do is cock it.
Yeah.
You don't have to load it.
Yeah.
Just at 2 a.m, if somebody hears that, they know what it is.
Well,
a 12 gauge, you don't have to be a good shot.
No, I tell people all the time. I say, it depends on where I go. Sometimes I carry a weapon, sometimes I don't. But
are you packing now? Are you packing now for the Jeff Allen podcast?
Well, I probably should have been, but I feel safer.
Pull it out. Let me see the laser. Laser, our tech guy over there.
But the thing about it is that if you are somewhere and somebody's robbing a store or shooting at people, if you point your weapon, even if you don't hit them and shoot at them, I guarantee you they're either going to run or start crawling. People just sort of turn into ants when you start nailing them back. Because a lot of people that shoot at people, they shoot at people that's unarmed. They go for soft targets. You talk about that all the time on television. People that are terrorists and all the rest of those guys, they're going after soft targets, places easy to get into. Yeah, they're not going to go wearing I tell people all the time, people that carry weapons don't go through TSA normally. Now, you do have some nuts that do that. But the good people don't go through TSA. They find a way around TSA.
Right.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. You didn't ask about alcohol. I drank, like I said, I was reading your book. I drank probably 6 or 7 years. I used to get drunk every Friday night, like a good soldier does.
Did you go into your room and break wind?
No. I'm not going to tell a lie. I'm not going to. Well, you should ask.
Just the whole thought of that. You know, there's this guy that's like lording over all these young souls, you know, yelling at them all day. And then at
I'll
night
be back in a minute.
Just.
Oh, yeah.
Pull my finger.
That's a good way to wake you up there. I'll never mind. Go. But, geez, I forgot what I was talking about.
Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of marriages don't survive the military. Mm-hmm. How did you manage to make it?
First of all, the first part.
Did she come from a military family?
No. I met her in Fort Benning, Georgia. She didn't like me, and she was actually a blind date.
Well, that's how you stayed married then.
Yeah.
So if you start out with not liking each other, then the expectations are really low.
Really low.
And then you kind of move into like, he's not so bad.
Not so bad.
So that's basically it for 36, 40 years. You know, he's not so bad.
Well, what happened though is I actually she was a blind date, and so we went out, and it was cold in Fort Benning, and I was saying, well, good night, and she rolled the window up.
Who hooked you up?
A friend of mine, a guy named Angelo Bianchi, is from New York. And so we went out, and about a month later, I don't know, I think Angelo gave me the phone, whatever, I called her and said, hey, look, we'd like to go out again. So we went out, we started going out. So we started dating and got along pretty good. And then I decided to get out of the Army, and she really made me angry about something. And I said, well, I'll see you later. I'm left. And I drove from, I guess, Benning to, about 4 or 5 hours away. And I got a little ways away. And I said, I did like her. And in fact, I think I love her. So I called her on the phone. And I said, hey, look, if I come back, will you come with me? And she said, yeah. So it took me like 9 hours to get there and 20 minutes to get back or something like that. Yeah. So we just all moved out. I think the key, though, is open communications. Being a good listener to all the things I probably don't do, and try not to, just like you said, I love the fact that you said, don't say the first thing that pops in your mind, don't say the second, say the third thing. But being open with each other. The other thing is, I think a military spouse is really special because they put up with a lot of stuff. They run the household, they do all those things. And the biggest part of my life, I was gone all the time. In fact, I'd be gone for maybe a couple of months or something, like maybe write her a letter, send her a note or something, never sent anything. And I don't know if I told you, I was working in the Pentagon during 9/11. Oh. And I was working in the Pentagon I started making the Army during 9/11. And a guy named David Shad called me on the phone and said, hey, Sergeant Major, you got to look at the TV. I said, what happened? He said, look at this. I look at the TV. I'd seen the second plane hit New York. And I told the guys in the office, I said, this is not a mistake. And they said, okay. I said, well, stay close to the phones. I got to go something. I had to go do something, and I'll be back a few hours. So I got out. They have in the Pentagon, you have drivers. So I had a driver take me up over to Fort Myer, and I was coming down the hill after I spoke. I was coming down the hill, and the plane actually hit. And so I came back around, started to go back into the Pentagon, and there was this big security guard, large guy. He said, stop. Yeah, ran around him, ran upstairs, and everybody in the room was already evacuated because we was right there by the chief's office, so they already evacuated. Came out, went back around to where the plane had actually hit, and me and a guy named General Van Alstyne went back into a little corner of it and started going. Went 30 or 40 feet, and it was so smoky and stuff. That I told him, I said, look, if we go any farther, we're going to be casualties. We need to go back. So we went back, and this came out, and then stayed there until they shored it all up and put the fire out, of course, and then started going and getting the remains, and I went back in there, and the only body I can't remember the actual number, 180 rings a bell there, but I can't remember the number, but. I went back in. I only seen one body in there. It was burnt so bad you couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. But most of the people that were in the Pentagon were nothing but pieces, So it was a terrible. But the one thing about that day, more than anything else, though, for that one day, and I wish nothing like this ever happens again. But that one day, it pulled our country together.
Right.
And we was all. I mean, nobody could say nothing bad. How are you doing today? Have a good day. I mean, can I help you? And
I was in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
and Wednesday churches were overflowing.
Oh yeah.
I was working the club. I think our first show was at 8:00, so I was going to a 6:00 service, and I couldn't get in. I had to sit out in the parking lot, and I just wanted to pray with the people.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice to know that America, when it faces something like this, they turn to their faith.
Absolutely.
You're a man of faith.
Yep.
Were you a man of, obviously, I'm going to guess when you got in the Army, you weren't?
No.
No. What led you to? What was the moment?
War.
War.
Yeah.
Well, they say there's no atheists in foxholes.
That's true. Well, I don't know. When I went to war, I've said it many times, God, just get me out of here. Did I tell you about my pocket Bible? No. I had a pocket Bible when you go somewhere, when you deploy or something like that, they give you a small pocket Bible and you put it in your pocket, of course. But I was a tanker, so I put it in a 50 caliber can, never opened it up. About 3 weeks after I got to Vietnam, I opened the Bible up, and inside that Bible was a blood handprint, a blood fingerprint in the Bible. And I have no idea. It'd never been opened, as far as I know. So I kept that Bible with me on the front slope of a tank, right? Remember all the people here's the other, everybody got killed on the tank that I was on before I got on there. And when I left, about 4 months after I left, everybody got killed again. So I was right in that window. And
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I kept that Bible with me everywhere I went, and I didn't open it much, but it really got to be just my lucky charm, right? And the way in Vietnam, the way you left, they'd send a helicopter, and send you out there, and say, okay, Tilly, it's time. It's about time for you to go home. Tilly, it's time to go home. I was the body escort coming back, so they come out and says, Tilly, get your stuff, you're leaving, let's go. And so I started getting all my stuff, and the only thing that was missing was that Bible. That Bible had been in that can, wasn't there.
Wow. Well, I hope somebody got it.
Well, why would somebody take a Bible? So that's it's in my lifetime. I'm sure in your lifetime, there's certain things in my life that's happened that's made me a stronger. I'm probably not the most religious person in the world, but I certainly believe in God. And in fact, I think I told you about my son when he was on our show. He had pneumococcus meningitis, left him temporarily blind, temporarily deaf, 20 to 30 convulsions a day, had encephalitis, has a lumbar shunt in his spine. But I just, as a soldier, I just kept soldiering. My wife took care of him. All the stuff she had to do. But in my mind, I thought that he's not going to live past 7 or 8 years old. He's got too many medical issues. Another time, my wife says I'm nuts, but at the time, he's on like 4 or 5 different kinds of medication. And so I was up at Yakima Firing Center shooting up there. And my wife called me. She said, Jack, you got to come home. I said, what's wrong? She says, Brian's sick. Okay. So I went and seen the first sergeant. I was a staff sergeant at the time, and I said, first time I got to go home. I said, sure, totally. Shot back. Went right to the Madigan Hospital. Now, you can tell me a lot of things about life. You can tell me a lot of things about God, but I truly believe. I believe in life. I believe in God. I believe things happen for a reason. If you believe strong enough, it'll happen. But you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused on what you're doing and try to help your fellow man and woman. And so I went and seen that doctor, and I said, Doc, what's going to happen? He said, I don't know if he lives tonight. Oh, think about that.
Right.
So I went in this small chapel annex, probably about big as this room right here, and got down on my hands, said, God, either let him live or let him die. And the next day, there wasn't nothing wrong with him.
Really? Praise God.
Yeah. Yes. So you can talk about faith, but you just you got to believe,
right.
And you got to help. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've heard too many stories like that
Yeah.
to not believe it.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the skeptical side where you go, why didn't, there's a show called The Chosen on Angel. And there was again, they took some creative license with the stories from the Bible. But one of them was, I think it wasn't Peter. Simon. No, Simon. Anyway, now I'm conflating things. But his fiance died, and he was with Jesus. And he couldn't understand why Jesus didn't heal. He knew Jesus had the power of healing.
Yeah.
Could have healed her. And the betrayal on his face, the betrayal in his actions. As a human being, I get that. Why them, not me?
Yeah.
Why? But like you said, faith and belief, that's the prerequisite to the healing. Doesn't mean it's going to be healed. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you're going to be the one. But without it, it's a guarantee you're not.
Yeah.
But praise God. That's an amazing, again, that's a powerful story for faith and belief.
Well, to think about life.
That's probably as a soldier, you're vulnerable, you're weak, you know you have no control, you have no power over this.
Yeah.
You are just basically on your knees, surrendering to the Almighty and going, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's you, it's me, it's not me.
Well, the thing about it is even the next day, I told my wife that. She says, here's what I did and here's what happened. She thought, oh, no, that's, I said, well, I'm just telling you what I did. But, I don't know. You just got to, God put us on this earth to help people, to do all we can to help people, to enjoy life, and there's going to be ups and downs. You're always going to be tested, and nothing's never perfect.
Right.
But that's just the way life is, So I just
spoken like a true old man.
It's time.
But I'm saying that when you've lived life, those things should come to you. You realize there's an ebb and a flow. There's seasons of nobody gets out of here without suffering.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what we've been sold, certainly through the media and the social media, is that you can avoid all of that if you just do whatever.
Yeah.
Join this program, join that program. And the Bible stands in direct contrast to that, where Jesus, before he left, said, it ain't going to be easy, this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, some days it's just hard to get up and put your one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Before we go, because we need to wrap this up.
Can I say one more thing real quick?
You could say 5 more things.
Well,
Carolyn's the only one that has a long drive home.
Well, the only thing is, I don't. I said it before. I don't look back. I don't worry about things, and I don't think. I don't listen to things. I just sort of stay in my lane, and what goes around me, and I'm going to be who I am. But and people like to talk down to you, but I always tell people there's a lot of people as good as I am, but there's nobody better. And I'm going to enjoy my life to the last day, and I'm going to do everything I can to help people out. And I think the people that are listening, enjoy every minute, because you never know when it's over, and help everybody that you can. That's for sure.
That's a great message. And I think we are wired. Again, we're wired as men to provide and protect, and we're wired by God to serve and worship. You will worship. So the question is, what are you worshiping? And you will serve. And what are you serving? Usually what you worship, you'll serve. So I think that you're an example of a life well lived. If the Lord was to call you home tomorrow, I think people that knew you would look and say that was a life well lived.
I hope he gives me a couple more days.
And you're going to have a lot of young. I had a pastor do a sermon one day, and they asked him why he mentors young men, and he said, because when I die, I want a lot of young men carrying my casket. The old guys won't be able to lift.
That's right.
So to know that you've poured into another generation, to know that you've helped those that suffer. That is just right out of the words of our Savior. You take care of the widows, you take care of the orphans, and then you take care of the weakest among us.
God bless you.
And that's the hard thing, I think, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's for the strongest among us to admit that we have a weakness.
Absolutely.
And once they can get to that part, I've seen that at the 12-step programs. I've seen these hardcore men, these bikers, these gangbangers, when it finally hits them, that God loves them, their wife loves them, and that moment where they don't have to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, that if we lean on each other, we can get through another day. And that's all we need, 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Just one day at a time, man. Sergeant Major,
of
retired.
Oh, God, don't throw that in there.
Retired, it says it right here.
Yeah, no, don't look at that sheet.
I got the sheet right here. It says Sergeant Major, retired. It's so funny. My son made a video with his uniform on, and he got reprimanded, just saying, go see my dad at whatever, some show. And he got called into the office. I guess you're not allowed to. So anyway, Sergeant Major of the Army, retired, Jack L. Tilley. American Freedom
Foundation.
Foundation.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say coalition, but foundation.
Yeah.
Your Next Mission, a podcast, which I was on.
Absolutely.
So you can see yours truly on the podcast with you and your partner, Ted.
Yeah, Ted Hacker, absolutely.
Ted Hacker.
Yeah.
And you're doing the yeoman's work, man. You're doing good work.
Well, thanks for letting me come on your show.
Proud to know you.
Absolutely.
And we're not strangers now. You work downstairs.
We got to play a game of golf down there. I read your book about golf.
You golf?
I do. So does Ted.
Oh my gosh.
Some days I play good. Now,
my wife will let me play with other people. She won't let me go out by myself.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's a mean one. She's.
What's really funny is I got to tell you one more story before we go. I was a battalion sergeant major down at Fort Knox in 1st Battalion.
That's what my son did. Is
that right?
Yeah.
So I was a battalion sergeant major, and I just got there, and we had a couple guys in the hospital. And so I said, well, I'm going to go up and see these guys in the hospital, see how they're doing. And I went in and seen this guy. He's about 6'6", big, bulky guy. I said, what happened? He says, my wife hit me with a frying pan. I said, well, we'll send you to counseling. She's not going to do it the third time. So evidently she'd whooped up on her twice. So about a week later, his wife comes to the battalion. And I thought, man, she's got to be a big woman. She's about 3'2". I mean, she must have climbed
That's
up
why she
and
needs
beat
a frying pan. She's probably did one of those Chinese things where they ran up the wall, and whacked him in the head.
Right.
Yeah. If you can lift one of those lodge things, Tammy needs 2 hands to lift one of those, man.
They're big. Yeah,
I don't have to worry about her hitting me with that. She can't lift it.
Well, if she says that, it's really funny about being married for a long time. It's like, will you? Yeah, sure, I'm in for it. You want me to do this? I was doing something the other day. Says somebody called me and said, what are you doing, Sergeant Major? I said, I'm washing the dishes. Washing the dishes? Yeah, it's a regular routine for me around here.
I like doing the dishes.
Oh, I don't mind. I just clean them up, put them in the dishwasher.
I don't mind doing them at all. It's kind of a Zen thing for me.
Yeah.
What bothers me is when she comes over and starts doing them with me, because we do them differently.
Yeah, you do everything.
Yeah, I have a method. Just leave me alone. And now our sink is clogged up.
Yeah.
And she won't let me get Drano because she comes from a plumber's family. Drano, it'll eat because we have plastic pipes. And I said, but they have Drano that are safe for plastic pipes. She says, no, you're not doing it. I said, oh, then let's call a plumber. So every night I take a plunger and I have to plunge our sink in the kitchen to clear it out because she won't let me get the Drano.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till she leaves and I'm going to get the Drano and I'm going to pour it in there.
I've got to ask you one more question. I don't know if I heard this off one of your shows.
By the way, this could be a record. We've started to say goodbye 4 times, I think.
Well,
three times the last. Give me one more.
Okay, I got one. Well, the thing you talked about, I have 2 GPSs in my car. Did you talk?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's me then. Okay, I have a Jeep. I bought a brand new car. It's a nice car. I got a GPS. No matter what I say or that GPS says, my wife's in the back because she likes riding in the back. Got my son up front, and she tells me where to go. She says, "Hey, look, no, you shouldn't go there. I wouldn't have parked over there. I wouldn't have." So the other day I said, "Why don't you drive?" No, I don't want to drive. No, you drive. No. So every time I go somewhere, I always have 2 GPSs, one in the front and one in the back. Yeah.
But it's not an echo.
I might as well turn this one off and listen to this
My thing is because I'll park in the first spot I grab because I don't mind walking. I really don't.
Yeah.
And Tammy will always go, "Oh, gee, there's another spot of a half a mile over there if you want to." I get it, the sarcasm. No. I get it. Would you like me to drop you off at the front door, and then I can park where I want to park? Yeah. No, I don't want to do that. But, again, I just want to park.
Gloria always says to me, she says, "I wouldn't have parked here." I wouldn't. And then
then you're not driving.
That's right. I wouldn't go that way. Wait a minute. You want to drive? No, I don't want to drive. Oh,
Here's
I
what
wouldn't
you
have
say
turned
to her
there.
next time. She said, "You go, listen, you stupid witch." So I'm just giving you good marital advice.
No, I'm not.
Let me know how that
No, don't stop.
Let me know how that works out. I could feel the wave, and she's not even in the room. I could feel that. So anyway, Sergeant Major retired Jack L. Tilley. Do you like the L? What's the L stand for? Lee, Jack Lee Tilley.
Yeah.
Ooh, so if you ever committed like a crime spree, you would be 3 names. It would be Jack Lee Tilley.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a great villain.
Oh, that's
that'd
a great villain.
Jack Lee Tilley.
Jack Lee Tilley. My mama used to call me Jackie Lee.
Jackie Lee.
Hey, Jackie Lee, get over here. And she called me Jackie. You know, the worst whipping I ever got was from my mother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was an old what was it, a 54 DeSoto or something like that, and we drove all the way from Washington State to North Carolina and back. And on the way back,
holy cow!
Yeah, on the way back, my dad ran.
There was no iPads.
No, there was no iPads.
How did you survive?
Oh, I don't know. but so anyway, so when we just about got to the Dalles, Oregon, I think it was, my dad ran out of gas. Oh yeah, so
and the DeSoto got, 6-7 feet per gallon?
Oh, I don't know what. So anyway, he ran out of gas. And what I did was I was up front. My dad was walking to get gas. And I must have said something wrong to my mother. And I don't really, to this day, don't remember what it was. And she reached over there and grabbed me by the hair, pulled me in front of her, and used me for a punching bag. Oh, she must have hit me about 15 times before I got out of the car. And she kept saying, "Jackie Lee, get back in the car." No. I waited till my dad got back. Wow. He filled that car up with gas, started that car, and then I slid back into the back seat and got far enough away she couldn't reach me no more.
Oh, wow.
And I never backtalked my mama the rest of my life.
See, my father heard me backtalk my mother and threw me against the wall.
Oof.
And he basically said, "You don't talk to my wife that way." And then he looked at me and said, "That is your mother."
Yep.
And I basically did the same thing to my oldest.
Yeah.
I heard him disrespect Tammy.
Yeah.
And I grabbed him.
Yeah.
And I lifted him up.
Yeah.
And I said, "You do not disrespect your mother ever in my house."
Yeah.
And he got the point.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm not saying they should put hands on children, but it does serve a point. Again, you seem to be a guy that gets the message.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you only have to be slapped around once.
That's right. Reform school one time. I've seen the light. I've seen the light.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't get the message.
No.
A lot of young boys.
Well, they just go from 1 to 1 to 1 to stay in a no.
Yeah. Then there's no self-examination.
No.
All right, for the 5th time. That was Dr. Sergeant Major.
Can we try 6th?
Doctor. Sergeant Major. No, you're not a doctor. Sergeant Major. American Freedom Foundation, your next mission. Please comment, subscribe, share this. If you made it this far into this and you have somebody in your family that would be benefit, please seek out these organizations and see if you can get some help. Again, too many soldiers are living a quiet hell, and they need to. The one thing they need to do is be able to open up and share. And if it's not to you, then find somebody to get them in the path of their life that they can open up to and share their stories with. So thank you for walking upstairs. I know I put you out.
Yeah, I'll have to hitchhike home. But thanks a lot for having me on the show.
Thanks, and we will golf.
Absolutely.
Trust me. Absolutely. All right, man. God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.